guys, welcome to TV Movie Mistress, your one-stop shop for all things entertainment. As always, I'm your host, Mo.
And I'm Carly.
And I'm Juwan.
Wow, look at that. It's like we're the three heartbeats. You guys, I'm sure, heard those voices. You're aware of who those voices belong to. I am back. We are all back to talk about Anne Rice's interview with the vampire, episode 4.
But before that, do you want to tell everybody again how much of a 21st century man I am?
No, I don't want to, because I don't recall that at all. Just fucking Christ.
No, I heard the tape.
It's my fault. The tape. It's my fault. I broke my own rule. Never give a man a compliment. and that's why I instantly regretted it. I was like, fuck.
At least one of us was there live for that.
One of us barely remembers it.
There you go. Matriarchy. But yes, thank you for not being ain't shit.
Give me about 15 more minutes. We'll see.
No. That's your Christmas present. You're welcome. So yes, we are back this week, and I am super, super excited. Like, I love this show. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I'm finished, because again, I'm watching it episode per episode. The listeners are lucky, because if I wasn't, I would still take my time, because I'm gonna be sad when it's done. But we are here to talk about episode 4, the ruthless pursuit of blood with all a child's demanding.
What a title.
Look, I am loving their episode titles, genuinely so. Like, just loving it. But
they're really doing it up.
They really are, and it's long as fuck, which means it kind of looks weird when you do it in a podcast form, but I don't care. I love it. It just sounds extravagant. Right. It sounds really good. But
now, I have a question real quick.
Men don't get to talk here, but sure, go ahead.
I know, Mo, you said you had not read the book.
I don't recall that I have read the book. If I did, it was probably like during my high school days, so like a lifetime ago.
Okay. Yeah. And Carly, did you read the book?
No, I did not.
Okay, I've learned something apparently, and I didn't fact check it, but what I did learn something, and we're gonna get a little bit more deeper into it when we talk about the episode.
Are we, Juwan? Tell us what we're gonna do, Juwan.
Well, yes, I'm gonna tell the women, you specifically, what to do. But I heard that Claudia was actually 5 years old in the book.
Yeah, that I remember. Yeah. And even in Interview with the Vampire, the movie, she was like 10.
She was like 11 in the movie.
Well, yeah, younger than what she is here. But I just found that part fascinating. Of course, it's kind of hard. It would be, difficult to get a 5-year-old actress or even a 6 to 8-year-old actress, to kind of like, do some of the stuff that Claudia is doing in this show. But I find that fascinating that in the book that she is so young, and then you have like a toddler essentially with the powers of a vampire, and you know how toddlers eat, Carly. You know how toddlers eat. Yeah. So whatever, and think of that.
They teeth hurt now without superpowers. Like when they bite you at solids, that shit hurts. Like,
I just find a toddler vampire like fascinating and horrifying at the same time.
Well, wasn't that Renesmee?
Way more sinister.
I apologize for bringing up Twilight, but wasn't that the most Renesmee? Oh, that was a terrible movie. And I read every book, so I contributed to that nonsense. But yes, it's Chucky. It's like baby Chucky, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But I find it so much more sinister to have Claudia be so much more like younger than we see her in movies and TV shows.
And that's why we can't have her.
Yeah, because not only about like appetite and attitude, but just could you imagine just the way that she would hunt would also be so different, because seeing a child. Yeah, but like, a 5-year-old can still walk around and talk and be manipulative and all that stuff, and just having that person be like 35, 63, or whatever it is that she says in
that's the
this
rough
episode.
part. That's
Like
having the
that's what is like,
mind. Yeah.
yes, that's crazy. And the things that they could do with that young body, even though they're
Yeah.
very angry about being in the young body. That's awesome too.
Right.
Yeah, like it's just it's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm definitely looking forward to gnawing on the bones of that this episode. But before we jump into episode 4, Juwan, you were not here last week. And last week's episode was, of course, all about Louie and Lestat and sort of like the cementing of their domestic, I guess, day to day, but also Louis finding himself on this path of, like the title says, is my very nature that of the devil, and I'm now vegan, which again, like I said in last week's episode, it's kind of bullshit because, okay, fine, you're not eating humans, but you're like decimating another species, Louis. Like what? But whatever makes you feel better.
You're changing the ecosystem of Louisiana.
Yes, one way or the other.
Right.
Right. What were your thoughts? Is my question to you on that.
I did like the episode as an episode of an interview with the vampire, but I want to call you out actually.
Me?
On your your love of a toxic white man.
He is perfect.
Of a toxic, manipulating, abusive, emotionally abusive white man who went into a jealous rage and possibly killed another black dude because only the white man.
Who said he killed him? He said he went home. No one said he killed him.
We don't know. We don't know that. We don't know that. But I'm just saying that, hey, how can Lestat go and have some tail on the side but Louie can't?
He didn't say he couldn't. He literally said, sure.
And then you go and hunt down allegedly his gay lover, his other gay lover.
I didn't say he should have went to go hunt down his gay lover, but Louis should have known when his husband said sure 4 times in a row in a high-pitched sequence that he should not have gotten tail on
that's what it is. That's what it is.
Known.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't say shit to me ever again about loving Frank, okay? Okay.
Because Frank don't make no sense.
I did love the episode. My favorite parts besides seeing them, settling into their domestic lifestyle together, I do love the racial dynamics of the show because, like I said last week, where Louis is still a black man, but now is a black man with the powers with all the powers of a vampire, not just the strength, but just understanding like what truly these white men that are around him, what they truly think about him or what they're saying to him and saying about him in their minds and saying about them behind their backs. And he tries to still carry that because he wants to keep up the appearance of humanity, but until it boiled over and he let it out in that rage because he could not still, with all this power and influence that he thinks he has, they're still pretty much treating him like he is a baseless animal.
What did you think of the fact that like Louis wasn't using his mind reading capabilities in business meetings though?
I do. That was I understand how that can be looked at as a bad business decision. Like if you go into business, you want to be on an equal playing field. You kind of want to still have that allure where you use your smarts and your cunning and you don't want to cheat. And maybe I kind of see it like that. Maybe he didn't want to cheat and maybe influence.
Again, I think the key word here would be if it was equal playing field. Not like
that's true too. But see, Louis
racist.
But see, Louis, I believe Louis, even prior to becoming a vampire, saw himself as one of the good ones, one of the ones that could sit at a table with them and talk shit with them and be seen as one of the boys. And then, even though he knows in the back of his mind, I have they can still do whatever they want. but I think he saw himself as a level above like the common street black person. And he, but he's, but I honest, but what I want to say, but I like when he let that rage out, when they treated him like a lower level animal, like I'm gonna show you the animal, I'm gonna show you this rage, I'm gonna show you this rage, and this is the power that I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna take back for myself, and it does backfire on the community, but he wasn't really thinking about the community at that time, he was thinking about himself. And I just like find it fascinating how this show does, you know, does put race directly on the forefront alongside of being a vampire tale.
I agree. Like they're not shying away from it in the world they're inhabiting, and they're also not shying away from it in the way it's portrayed within the relationship. Like I could absolutely see like an interracial relationship sort of, you know, this being it, you know, without the vampire killing.
Right. And I also like that Lestat, you know, who's kind of halfway tone deaf, kind of doesn't get it, but Lestat's also been alive for like over 100 years. You know, he's seen all kinds of people been all over the world, like, several times he he truly doesn't see color. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. And like he's like, whatever, like you can kill him if you want to, just kill him and be done with it. Just make sure that you do it discreetly.
Yeah. And this is probably the only time that like being colorblind could be a thing. You know, someone who is like, you know, like we'll touch into it later, but when Daniel was talking to, I don't remember his name, but homeboy, he's like, "Oh, you're not from Dubai." And he's like, Dubai's a baby. Everyone's a visitor. Like everyone's new here. Like no one's from here. You know, and it's like
that's true too. That's true. No one is from Dubai. Dubai is new.
Look, it's weird because it's like I feel like that about America, right? Like that's why American history is sort of like very boring as fuck, even though it's like scandalous. But it's because it's like nothing is over a century old. You know, you can go to Europe, Africa, like Asia, and they're like literal buildings that have been around for hundreds of years, if not centuries. And America,
maintain them.
Like, look at the crack bell, y'all. Like, fuck that crack bell. Like, what am I doing with a crack bell? But yeah, so yeah, let's start. Okay, cool. I wanted to get your thoughts. I hope you guys have a sort of appreciated us incorporating Juwan's thoughts of episode 3 into the episode.
Yes, appreciate the man talking.
Yeah, don't we all? So let's jump into episode 4, which I absolutely adore this episode. I mean, I think I say that every week, but let me, before I just go full on fangirl mode, let me ask Carly, what were your overall thoughts on this week's episode?
Oh my God, I love this episode.
Sorry.
And the addition of Claudia was excellent. This episode was one of my favorites, and because it was all told through Claudia's point of view, like even the voiceover was her. And for some reason at first, like the first couple of minutes when I first watched the episode, I was like, oh, this is weird, because I was getting used to Louie and having it be like his story. But by like midway through the episode, I was totally in. Seeing her go through kind of like the paces of like a regular teenage girl, if you will, but having it be through kind of like the filter or the lens of vampirism, and going through her kind of growing as a vampire or as a baby vampire. I really enjoyed that, the kind of those parallels that they touched on. I loved how funny this episode was. It was like straight up comical until it wasn't. You know what I mean? All the domesticity that we got to see, I really, really enjoyed. And all the like regular like human shit, like, you know, getting a baby, you know, getting a baby to fix this shitty marriage, you know what I mean? Using it as a Band-Aid. All the stuff, as you know, that you go through as a young girl, or not all the stuff, but a lot of it, you know, as a young girl, like the shitty, not the shitty, but like the cruel or fun dad versus the, you know, the loving and caring dad, like all that stuff I really ate up. And to have the episode kind of end in such a dark tone, was I don't know, I felt like it was like the perfect wrap up for this episode. This episode was fantastic. And oh my god, what's her name? Bailey Ross? Bailey Bass is her name.
Yes.
She was fucking perfect as Claudia. Like just the perfect, annoying, petulant, smart, you know, observant, astute, you know, just soaking everything in.
She's
She
the
was
part of us we don't miss
in
from our teenage years.
so?
Yeah, I'd say.
But I love how, like, you know, we can see how she was young and getting all this. Like, she wasn't horrified or shocked or surprised by a lot of these things. She really was eating it up, for lack of a better term, and I really liked that aspect of it. You know, it was so different than the journey that we saw in episode 1, 2, and 3 with Louie. You know what I mean? Where it was like, oh, like, woe is me, this is hard, the guilt and all that stuff. Yes. She, and you know, in true, I guess, kid fashion, kind of took it in stride and was like, all right, this is my life, I guess. Here we go. You know, and oh, that was really, I don't know. I thought it was really fucking great.
Okay, so we kind of touched on this point a little bit earlier, which is the fact that in the book, Claudia's 5, in the movie, she's like, I don't know, like 10. And in this show, she's basically 15. What did you think about sort of the decision to age Claudia up?
You talking to me?
Yes.
Oh. No, well, I mean,
it's a follow-up question. Sorry,
yeah, no, no, I always think, I don't know, I always think it's great. It's a different medium, so it requires sometimes a lot of different things and different changes. So far, the things that I know about the book that they have changed or have kept the same for the show, I'm like, I totally am down with. Having an older character could be played by someone that's older, which means that, you know, logistically they could be on set more. You don't have to deal with like kid rules and all that stuff. And then they can do more, I guess, serious thematic, you know, stuff with her. So I like it. I like her being aged up.
Okay.
I don't know. She's 14, so she'll always be forever a 14-year-old.
Yeah, that part. That's hard.
That's hard.
Yeah. That's hard. But
that's hard.
Juwan, what were your thoughts overall on this week's episode?
I love this episode. I honestly I did not expect that we would get Claudia this early in the series at all. I felt like Claudia would have been the season 2 thing. So I was like, yes. So I was pleasantly surprised that in, you know, this episode 4, that we got Claudia, and I was really excited about that. But just to kind of like piggyback on Carly's point that she made, whereas yes, you do have this this child, she's a 14-year-old, and you don't know what you miss until you actually are being told that you miss it. So as we see like the progression of this child, she is like Carla said, she is fascinated by this new life that she has. That, you know, I can't go out in the daytime anymore. I have to drink blood. I'm strong. You know, I can you know, I got these fangs and stuff. She's playing dress up with it. But when we see later on how she sees what she's missing by going out in the night and seeing women and seeing couples together, and just like, and she is you see this like wave of not despair, but this wave of depression, I guess you can say it is, kind of like fall over her, because this is like, she has the mind of a child, but her emotional intelligence is rapidly aging. You know, if that makes sense, because she's realizing what she thinks that she can't have when they did what they did to her. But again, Claudia, to me, she's a fascinating character. Has always been. She was fascinating to me in the original movie. I haven't read the book because fuck books, fuck reading. But yeah, she was always fascinating.
Support your local library, Juwan's. You don't read is not endorsed by TV Movie Mistress at all.
But no, she's a very, very fascinating character to me, and I was pleasantly surprised that I seen her this early, and I can't wait I'm so excited for you, Moji, to get to know this character a little bit better as you progress along with the series.
Okay, me too. too. Me
Mm-hmm.
too. I will definitely say I love this episode. Loved it. Loved it. I think the fact that they decided to sort of bring Claudia into the picture and show us an alternative view of what being a vampire is like, because I think, we have Lestat and he's like so Lestat with it, and there's no remorse or anything. Then you have Louie and he just contemplates anything and everything. So the addition of Claudia and sort of her, it's almost like she's a Gen Z vampire. Like she kind of just takes to it very quickly and easily and smoothly. But I think that's also very indicative of where we met her from, right? Like, so let's go back a little bit. So the episode opens with Daniel in Dubai still, and there's something with his doctor, Parkinson's, that he's going through in treatment. Homeboy, what is his name?
I can't
Let
remember
me
his
see.
name.
Okay, Rashid.
Rashid.
He is
Yeah.
just the sassiest twink ever. Like, sir, I don't
He is
know
too.
what the problem
Yeah,
is. I don't.
Rashid, meet him at sunrise. I thought it was beautiful.
He's just angry, and
Yeah.
does not have time for Daniel. But he's not rude, even though he is. And we see him sort of be like, "Look, Louis resting. He's not going to be available. Here, like all of these diaries for you to like, I guess, go through." And we see Daniel go through Claudia's diary, and it starts with this voiceover that for me I was like, oof, just like Carly, you said it took you like halfway, 30 seconds into this voiceover, I was like, I love this bitch, because
She's amazing. Yeah.
she's crazy. The bitch is crazy,
Yeah.
because it's like the way she was just describing, because again, we see from Louis' point of view, like what led him to find her and save her.
Right. Now the imagery of that scene I found tragically beautiful, because when she's telling this story about how her aunt told her to stay put in this fire, and of course this is a child, you're going to do what your elder tells you to do, even though you know that this is going to, I mean, you were in pain. You know, you're breathing in all this smoke and everything, and you're just there scared. And then she said, and then when that part where she says where Auntie tried to come back, but she brought the fire with her, and you just see that body leaning up against the door, on fire, halfway on fire, like the top half on fire. That was so tragic and beautiful at the same time.
And it's very easy to miss that because of how Claudia's voice sounds, right? It just sounds so fucking chip all the time, right? So,
right, But also, this is that this fire was started by because of, well, first of all, it was because of Louis' actions, but also by white rage. And basically, this was a mass genocide of this little part of this community by these white people, because and I definitely don't agree with it, but of course Louis fucked that shit up. So.
Yes, but again, he absolutely did, and that's Louis' decision. You can see kind of haunts him, because even in this episode, he brings up consequences. But Claudia's a child. You don't understand what consequences are until you go through consequences, and you're like, oh shit, that's consequences. So again, it's just how everything is so normal in a sense, but also it's not, because it's wrapped around in like all this death and chaos, but yet I'm grinning when I grin when I watch this show. I'm just like, oh my god, even though it's like just destruction and chaos everywhere, but I'm here for it.
But it's funny because like out of the destruction and chaos comes so much like rebirth in a way. You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
we start literally the episode starts with a sunrise. The sun is coming up on a new chapter in Louis' life or in their lives or whatever. Then Claudia was kind of born from the fire, if you will, and those ashes of Louis' destruction and destructive I guess emotional state that he was in, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like out of all the chaos and all the violence and all the destruction, I always feel like there's always kind of like a rebirth of sorts.
But
And
sometimes be
that,
careful what you wish for in your rebirth, though,
right, exactly. It's
because
like it could have a double-edged sword,
because
of
like
course.
it's already problematic with a 15-year-old Claudia. Motherfuckers, why would you turn a 5-year-old? Why would you, like, just in that idea? Like, why
It's
would?
very selfish. It's very
Yes,
selfish reason.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, even a 14-year-old in this show, it was for a very selfish reason. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It was for Louis to quell some sort of heartache that he has, or some sort of
I
whatever.
mean,
You know what I mean? Like,
the petty part of me is to just prove an argument that he's right to Lestat and be like,
he's right about
see,
what?
like, oh, any vampire can just like be vegan. That's maybe 10% of
Okay.
the argument, but
Okay.
that's if I was a truly cynical person.
Well, Lestat even calls Louie out on that. What does she go? What do you want her for? To be like a pet,
A pet?
or a daughter?
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to fix us.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Right,
Yes.
and right before he says that, he goes, "You were like you were about to leave yesterday, and now
Yes.
you wanna
That's true,
do
because
this."
you,
Now you want a
Carly
third.
totally didn't catch that, like, Louis
No,
broke
I
up with
didn't. Yeah,
him.
or I forgot about it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, he broke up with him. So it's like, it's very interesting how, because I was like, he ain't break up shit. Sir, your coffin is in there. You ain't going nowhere any longer. But, you know, anyways, let me just sort of join two scenes together, right? So on one hand, you've got Claudia being like, I thought I was in heaven and blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, this ain't heaven at all. And then you have like Louis like being like, turn her, even though she's like all burnt and, you know, scaly, like fucking grayscale and shit. But she's like in pain, and the pain isn't decreasing. And Lestat's like, I'm not turning her. But Lestat loves Louis.
He does.
And all Louis got to do is stare at Lestat for 2.5 seconds, and this man gets
With that cute face.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
fine. All right,
Like,
fine. Yeah.
whatever.
And like Lestat knew it was a bad idea. Not only was it a bad idea, but Lestat didn't want Louis' attention somewhere else. And you can
But you
tell,
know
like,
what I
he just
figured?
didn't want that. We saw that in episode 3 with the whole other guy business.
But
And
you,
now Louis is just kind of like, oh, I want something else to play with. And Lestat is like,
he needs hobbies.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I will say the one reason I thought Lestat agreed was Lestat being like, okay, so you want a kid, so you're ready to like break ties with your family in here. So it kind of felt conditional on, to me, from Lestat's side, where it's like, oh, I'll do this, but you have, like, you can't stay, even though they still stayed, but it felt like Lestat was like, you're ready to like break away from your past. If I give you this baby, you're ready to break away from your past and like we move forward. So that was also sort of another way I looked at that. But regardless, Louis gets what Louis wants, and Lestat turns her into a vampire. And this little girl takes to being a vampire, like we said, immediately, because next thing we know, she's like, is that my like pit? Is that my barbecue? Is that my... I was like, bitch, like, just because you're 15 don't mean you don't got manners. Like, what is happening? But just that immediate, like, not selfishness, because again, she's a child specifically at this stage, but I don't know. What did, like, she just takes to it. And
I don't know. I like the innocence and the innocent curiosity of youth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, she wasn't soiled. It didn't seem like she was soiled by anything, even though we heard later that, you know, her childhood up until 14 wasn't the greatest. So, but she still had that kind of like youthful innocence and wonder with her. And now being a vampire, that comes with so much new shit. Like, she, you know, like you said, like we've been saying, like, she took to it, but she took to it with that kind of childlike wonder, because she was at that moment a child.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and when I was watching this scene, I was like just thinking, I would be so fucking pissed if I was turned into a vampire. Not because like you turn me into like an immortal or shit, but like if I was turned into a vampire but like a broke bum, like I would be so angry.
Like a what?
Like a broke bum, like a bum, like a broke person.
Oh,
like a poor person. If I was turned into it, like if my master was broke, I'd be really.
I don't think they're. I don't think there are any broke vampires because, like, if you can live, if you can literally live for hundreds of years, and just work in the shadows. I mean, you can take all the people you can rob.
No, absolutely.
The
I'm
people
not saying it
you
was a
can
great thought,
glamour
but I was
folks.
just really scared. I'd be like, that would be terrible.
Yeah, you can't be a broke vampire. You a
Oh
glam.
God.
You can glamour a billionaire.
Right?
Okay.
Or you could just
Right?
like eat someone and then stay in their house and now you
That's
live
true.
there or like
Squatter's
whatever. You know what I
right.
mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Ah, that would be terrible though. Yeah, no broke vampire masters. That just sounds terrible. That sounds like some French shit from the Revolution. No broke.
Wait, but what made you think of that?
When I was watching this scene where like afterwards she's just looking all cute, they got all these outfits for her, and she's like, "Is that my pond?" Like they have a fucking pond, they have a backyard. I'm just like, this is the life. And then I just got like really scared. Like Jesus Christ, what if like I got turned into a vampire with someone who had a fucking studio?
Oh my God.
Right. That scared me.
See, if you that would be a choice, okay, and you don't have to make that would be a choice if you did that.
Yeah,
Right,
Or
you have to stay.
yeah,
yeah,
like
you don't have you would have to stay.
yeah,
Right.
no, I'd be like, no, master, no, we're not. I'd be Anakin Skywalker so bad, so quickly. Okay, so we've got Claudia turning into a vampire. Okay, guys, cutest scene ever. She's a vampire now. She's pointing out to like they're like giving her a tour of the house, and we find out that Lestat, being her maker, cannot hear her thoughts, but Louie can. And
did we know that before that
Yes.
Lestat wasn't able to
Yes.
hear Louis' thoughts?
Yes.
we
He
did.
said it in the first episode, yeah.
Oh,
Or the
Okay.
second episode. Yeah. When he was is the episode where he's like telling Louis the rules and whatever in episode 2.
oh,
Okay, cool.
I don't
Cool.
remember. I mean, I figured he would have. I was just like, yeah, I did not know that at all. Because it feels like they're always like mind talking anyway. But I guess that's just like, it's that thing couples do where you don't talk, but you just, y'all give each
Look at
other
each other,
shady
you just
looks.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is.
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, so she gets the tour.
Oh wait,
Yes.
I don't know if you guys kind of saw it this way, but like that moment where where she finds out that he can't read her thoughts and Louis and her are having a whole conversation in their head. Like to me that felt very much kind of like the way like people of color, like we can just you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like we're here
Code
and like
switching.
they just can't
I love that.
understand
I love that
anything.
reading.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, oh, I love that the show puts little things in there like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And
And
Louis
I'm
and Lestat.
I
did
wouldn't
not
say
like
that was definitely purposeful.
Oh yeah, and Lestat did not like that. Lestat is like, we're a family
No.
and we do not keep secrets.
Yeah.
And and it is kind of funny because I don't know what I was listening to because I listened to way too many fucking podcasts, but it was like an NPR or like some shit like that. And this woman was talking about, I think it was how like when she was younger, her mother was Hispanic and she married a white man. And unfortunately, her mother had to give up a part of herself by marrying a white man. Like he did, like she said, when West Side Story came out, her mother loved it and like hurried to like do her hair like the lead character and everything. And then when she got home, she just remembered her stepfather being so angry at her mother for like emulating, what she considered to be a part of her culture. And her mother, when her stepfather saw that, they had a conversation and she just went to go wash her hair immediately. And it's like,
Wow.
it's that thing in an interracial relationship where you give up part of yourself as a compromise. And unfortunately, a lot of people do it. And she said, she's happy that, she doesn't have to go through that now. But it was definitely like kind of sad to see her mother do it. And that kind of also reminded me of, just the relationship we see, but, not to say that they do it. The point was the whole code switching thing. That's way lighter than like, control of someone's looks and appreciation of their culture. But it's all wrapped up in the same bubble is the point I guess I wanted to make. But
you know what? Don't make me go on a fucking rant. That's the kind of shit that I fucking hate.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit that I fucking hate. I would rather die than change myself for any white person. That's why I don't do that shit.
But that takes a lot of knowledge of self. right?
Yes.
A lot of
Yes,
knowledge
it
of
does.
self, and also like options. If you don't have options, you just gonna
Right.
do what you can do and get by and try to raise your
Right.
kids. So it's
Because
understandable. Yeah.
but I know exactly what you're saying because I'm one of the old people on TikTok,
Shut up,
and I go
Chawand, the
and I
old people.
scroll, but I be scrolling up and down the feed sometimes, and I be seeing some of these weird interracial
Oh
couples
yeah.
that they have
Problematic.
that have this little weird shit that they do in their houses
That they
that
should
they're
not be
now
sharing.
they're showing the public and like y'all
Mhm.
motherfuckers is some weird on some weird shit.
Yes.
You
And we
black
don't
people
need
are
to know
seeing this
this.
hatred.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to know this little master slave shit that you got going on and everything until you brought it to the public and making fucking sounds out of that shit.
Mhm.
That shit irks me. I can't stand that side of TikTok, you know, but it's all over there apparently.
Oh
This
man.
weird interracial fetish shit that they
Yeah.
doing on there. I hate it. I
That
just
sucks. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't see it. I see it, especially
mm,
I see it in a certain aspect, and I'm just like, but then when your relationship crashes and burns, all this shit's
mm,
out there. Are y'all stupid?
mm.
Like, no.
That's why everyone, when they break up, they have to erase so much.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and also like that's gonna get annoying eventually. Like, you don't. There needs to be some separation in coupledom. Like, it can't be like work and play. Like, my job can't be your job, can't be our job, 24/7. Like that. Like, I'm gonna hate you eventually. Like, we need different hobbies and jobs. But all of that. Did we get that all out there? Did we get it all
Yeah,
out?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't go on a bigger rant, but
Yeah, I mean,
that irks me.
we need to say it sometimes. But the scene is lovely. Lestat is like, you're not gonna do that mind shit around me. You're not gonna code switch. We're family, and family don't keep secrets, and I'll teach you, and blah blah blah. And I would be Lestat. I'd be like, y'all better stop that shit.
Yeah, it's like one of the many things that just irks him about this whole Claudia idea. You know what I mean? And
You
I
did
feel
it to
like he
yourself, bro.
continues to be reminded of how bad an idea this was
Yes.
throughout for a while. You know?
He forgot that rule.
Look.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, Louie, I don't know. Lestat is her master, but Louis is her daddy. We see, and then the episode just sort of takes on this form of like series of like life lessons that they take Claudia on. So we see her first hunt, and it's so cute. It's so cute because. And it's so cute because like they're in the car and they're like, "We got you like dinner," and then she gets out the car and she sniffs her food and she's like, "I don't like this."
I don't like
and
that.
then like Lestat's like, "I don't know if I like that skirt on her." And
Louis goes,
like,
"This chiffon has movement." I fucking love that moment so much.
Like she's not about to murder a man for dinner in front of them, but she doesn't like this meal. She's like, this is Five Guys. I'm not about that life. And she just shoots off, and they have to run out the fucking car after this little girl who is just gone off book. And this is where we start to see that she's a very hungry teenager.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
As
Very
teenagers
voracious.
Look, this is why, like, whenever like I have my nieces or nephews come visit me, like my cabinets, shit that I've had for months, be gone in a weekend. They just eat it all. I'm just like, you just ate. There's literally still food in your hand. How are you hungry? But that is a thing. But yeah, we start to see sort of Claudia's insatiable hunger. We see her come up on this other cop. I guess she liked his smell better, and she's like, "I'ma eat you." He's also kind of rude. Kind of calls her a devil.
You said he's a cop.
I mean, hey.
Everybody likes to smell the bacon.
Facts.
Yeah. But okay.
I also like that she didn't eat the black guy. She chose the white cop. Like that to me.
Yes.
Like I took pleasure in that.
I mean, I was just like, wow, the guy looked really smelly though. But yes, I get your point. But you know, she drains this guy real quick. Louis is like, "Don't do that, Claudia," and then Lestat, shady as fuck, and I love it. He's like, "Oh, I guess she doesn't take after you, Louie."
Who were you saying she took after again? What was that?
Because
Yeah.
Lestat
Oh,
was like, "I love this man, but I'm not gonna have a husband and a daughter who gonna be fucking eating swans every fucking night of the week."
right.
Like, and I was like, "Same, Lestat, same." Like,
Right.
but yeah, no, Claudia will probably be worse than Lestat in some sense, but she has her first meal. They go back home, even though it's like don't eat cops, but she's like, I'm hungry. And from here, she's just like, I'm hungry. Why don't you guys let me eat?
I don't understand how it works. I mean, I guess because maybe she is young and has the appetite of a teenager,
Yes.
but it's kind of like how does a vampire? What is the appetite of a vampire? Can you like eat like one meal and live like for live for like a couple of days, or you gotta like eat every fucking hour? I just don't understand that. And no vampire lore thing I ever saw kind of like nails it down. It's always like you just see them constantly eating.
Well,
people.
I think it's because one, Louie and Lestat don't really have rules. And they don't really stop Claudia from a lot of the shit she wants to do. So, because obviously we see like, I mean, I look at it this way, right? In episode 1, when Louis describes his turning and how everything was like stars and stripes and shit, and Daniel was like, "So you were high," That's kind of how I think about it with Claudia. It's just this appetite has now been awakened, and even when like fucking Lestat was turning her, she was about to suck him dry, and he was like, "Relax yourself, little girl." So
yeah, that's true too.
She has a huge appetite, and these motherfuckers have never like trial tested how to like raise a teenage vampire girl, and they have no rules in place to be like, maybe one body will be enough. They don't fucking know.
But
that is true.
but also it seems like it's whatever stage your body was in. For example, she's 14, and they say it in the episode where like her metabolism is that of a 14-year-old, and it seems like that's what it's going to be since
makes a lot of sense.
When she died and became a vampire was at that age. She's kind of frozen at that age.
So she's going to metabolize
enzymes.
the food faster than they would,
than they would as adults. You know what I mean? So it seems like she needs 2 bodies a day, where they would probably need like actually just need like one body. Let's say,
and that makes sense with the title, right? The ruthless pursuit of blood, with all a child's demanding. Like the idea that she'll have to go through that her entire life, like that's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
But she's gonna get her meal. And again, it kind of goes back to the fact that Lestat hates messiness, but like it's family. Almost kind of feels like a sitcom. Like, aw, shucks, I love them.
Yeah. And I mean, but this whole kind of beginning and like them together, their interactions felt very not like sitcom-y and like funny. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like the domestic part of their lives felt very much like that. It's like, what did we tell you, young lady? No running in the house. You know what I mean? Like stop jumping, go to bed. You know what I mean? That like don't suck them dry or whatever. Like,
don't suck them dry.
Yeah, it just felt that like it had that kind of vibe to it, which made it really funny.
No, true. And one thing I did also like is with that was not that I like. One thing I did notice with that is it's being told from Claudia's perspective.
Right.
So on the one hand, as she's describing their daily lives, like, Uncle Lestat or Daddy Louie, and they'd yell at me, and we kind of see like all these montages of initially it's Louie and Claudia sharing a coffin, and Lestat has his own coffin, and in one sense it's a child's idea of their parents, but you also kind of see the you see the fights that you don't realize is a fight with your parents are having when you're a child. You see the background tension that in the very beginning Claudia herself isn't able to see. and it's just done so well because, again, in one sense, it just seems like a sitcom. It seems like a fairy tale. There's one point where Claudia's like, "Why do I exist?" And Lestat is like, "This is your fucking fault. You got this child out here questioning her fucking existence." And Louie's like, "Have you ever met a teenager? That's all they do is question their and that is all a teenager does, yes." Yeah. But it's that underlying tension, like, beneath Claudia's experience as their daughter.
Yeah. And I like that whole like coffin shuffle or coffin scene where it's very reminiscent of like when many people first have babies and they bring them onto their bed, you know what I mean, and they sleep with their baby, their sex life kind of suffers, and that's kind of what was happening there.
Get this baby the fuck out.
Right, exactly. And Lestat was like, you can tell he was so frustrated, and then they got her own coffin, and they had to like sneak sneak into each other's like.
I was just like, oh, so
it just felt like that new parent shit. You know what I mean? Like they were trying to just like figure out, and I enjoyed that. That was really funny.
First of all, leave me the hell alone.
What do you mean?
Okay, what Colin was just saying.
Oh. Yeah, new parent life. Yeah,
I feel like that touched the nerve.
Like, you see, once you let them in your bed, they ain't never gonna leave until you evict them.
Don't I know it?
You gotta give your child like eviction papers, and they gonna side eye you for a month.
I gave mine eviction papers after the first month. I was like, I give you a month and that's it, kid. I can't do it, and I sleep on a king size bed. I was like, I can't do it.
No, you're like, nah, this is not gonna work out. But no, it's still very cute to see. Like, and I love that she gets a pink coffin. I love it. I love the shopping trip for the coffin, and they're like, she has a heart.
Let's talk about that scene because that scene was hilarious.
Oh, I love that like kid in a candy store, energy that she had to it. This one's perfect. It's so soft.
Because the guy was like, because he was like so confused, like, hey, like. And they was because they did that whole thing like we just trying to get her accustomed to that she's gonna die soon. And then Claudia starts like, "Oh, I love it. It's so pink. It's so I love it."
This guy's like, this
shit, I gotta go kill this motherfucker now.
Yeah, all right.
But also, did they have to kill the motherfucker?
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah, they had to.
Why?
Louis went to. Because that shit was weird and they were gonna start talking.
So he goes home with a weird story, like, honey, there was this fucking weird little girl who liked coffins, like.
Yeah, somebody go look into that.
Really?
Yeah, but you don't wanna raise any more suspicion. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't want any more talk about X, Y, and Z. That's a little outside of the norm.
Exactly.
It goes. Yeah.
Okay, we just have to check to make sure we did not have any audio issues, and we do not. Okay, so from where we were at is Claudia's daily life. Her being just this little girl spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
We see her have a birthday party. Lestat gets her 3 humans to drink.
I mean,
that's a good gift.
It is.
Yeah.
And jewelry. Like they I just want to say, like, okay, so let's pause. Let's I know I'm a Lestat apologist. I'm fine with that. But
I'm not fine with it.
Jawan, is he not like the best stepdad?
Fuck no. It's not fucking
How is he
no.
not the best stepdad? How is he not the best stepdad?
Look, just because you can just buy anything that you want for your child or whatever does not make you a good father. And
what makes him a bad father? What makes him a bad father?
Is he instilling? He's not. I don't think he is instilling any kind of value system in her.
I think he absolutely is. I think
this value system, his fucking toxic ass value system that he's trying to do.
Okay, one, he keeps his toxic shit away from the house now, and this is perfect. Like the next scene where she goes fishing with fucking Louie. I really don't know why they went fishing.
That was example of Louie of being a good father. He's talking to her like she's a real person. He's teaching her restraint. He's telling her about, his life and, and the new nature that the new nature that they're having to get accustomed to. While Lestat says, "Go in here and kill those white. Go in there and kill some people trying to make out."
That is not what he said. That is not what he
said. Yes, it is. And I think that's fine. That's exactly what he said.
Oh, yes, you're right, Carly. Sorry. I was thinking, I just wanted to be combative subconsciously, I guess.
No.
No, but no, I get what you're saying, but I said he was wrong because I guess in my head, anyway. I want to know.
Lestat absolutely did that. He absolutely did that.
But that's also a teaching experience is what I was trying to get to. Like, Juwan is acting like that's not... But what Louie is important to her in terms of restraint, and this is what this is, and, him eating a fucking fish in front of her, and she's like, that looks nasty.
It was nasty. I mean, look, I'm good with murder. But I'm good with murder on the show. I'm just saying.
I heard it here.
In the context of what we're supposed to believe is that Louie is the good vampire, Lestat is the bad vampire. Is what I believe.
Yes.
Is what I believe.
Yes, but I don't see why we're what they're showing me doesn't really show just because Lestat does not give a fuck does not make him any less morally bad or morally great than Louie. I just think it's different perspectives. Because I feel like, I don't know. Continue.
I don't know. I
think Lestat, what Lestat is doing is teaching her how to be a vampire. That's what he's been trying to do with Louie the whole time. Louie has been resisting it this entire time, and he's trying his best to kind of live on the fence of I was human and I was a good person, and this is the same way that I'm going to be a vampire, and it's kind of impossible to do that a lot because of natural urges or whatever that the vampires have. Sure. Another reason is because it's kind of impossible in general being a predator, an apex predator of sort. You know what I'm saying? And having the hunger that they have.
That. It's very fucking naive that Louie doesn't feel the need to fucking teach that. And for me, it almost kind of feels like there's a lot of times in this episode where Lestat is trying to fucking put the reins on their predator of a fucking daughter. And Louie's like, she's a daughter. She's a and it's just like, dude, y'all are fucking monsters.
Yeah.
It's it's funny because the Hulk is funny, but the Hulk will crush you.
Right. And for example, I think that what happens in the end with the young boy that she really liked probably wouldn't have happened the same way that it did if Lestat would have had the chance to really kind of teach her how to...
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, the moments where Lestat sneaks her out, those are moments he's teaching her. Fucking Louie wants to teach her to go fucking fish.
Right, and that's not going to... One whole ass human man, grown ass human man, doesn't quench her. I need him
to have a basket or a net that he uses to scoop those fucking fish out. Because what, you gonna do this shit one at a time, and then somebody's just gonna be fishing it. Anyway, Louie, I hate him. I don't hate him. I love him. Jacob Reese, I love you. But okay, so another great part of the fishing scene is they have this back and forth about secrets and what they know, and Louie's like, well, you know how sometimes old people just don't want to tell you this shit. Don't push too hard. And then Claudia's like, so what's it like about two men and when two men love each other?
What about that gay shit? Okay.
That I saw the other night.
What's that about?
Yeah, and he's kind of honest with her. I love it.
Yeah.
Just,
he does talk to her like he's it was really sweet, and he does talk to her like she's somebody, not just
a person.
Like a person. But also I think that it was a great, that in that sense, that scene was a great teachable moment, where it's just kind of where she's asking questions as a kid would, vampire or not, hey, I saw this, what's that about? Explain that to me. And he kind of explained it in the most simplest realist terms. It's just love, and that's what it is, and she accepted that. As many kids kind of do, you know what I mean? She accepted it, and she kind of kept it moving, and and so that you're right, Mo, that was really sweet. It was really kind of a very dad daughter, teachable moment.
Again, I grin watching this fucking entire episode of Murder. Like I was just like, this is I was like, I want 2 hot vampire dads, please.
Right.
But okay, so let's jump to the present for a quick minute, and the present being Daniel Malloy's rude ass interrupting Rashid as he is praying, but Rashid's rude ass coming right back at him like, what do you want, white man? What do you want? That's just like Rashid's face this entire episode. But we see Rashid praying, right? Rashid is a vampire, right?
I don't know.
I don't know yet.
Because like when he was praying, like his part was in the dark, which I thought was kind of interesting. I was like, because I thought maybe he was like a human hanger-on waiting to be turned, but the fact that like even though it was daytime, he like while it was daytime, he was the side he was praying in the room, it was dark. Like the sun.
Well, I mean, no, he can't be because he was in the sunrise.
Was he?
Yes,
I can never tell because like the room is fake.
The beginning of the episode, we saw the sunrise.
Okay, that's true. Okay, so he just really has like a hard on for the dark. Like he's like, I'm ready.
Yes.
I'm ready. Okay, yeah, because he also made that weird comment. He's like, Louie likes trees and shit like a fucking human. I'm just like, my guy, why are you so pressed?
It's funny. I was gonna ask you, what do you think his problem is? Because it just seems like he's so against Louie having this interview with Daniel.
I don't know.
It seems like he's just like he's very like he's extra adversarial when it comes to.
He's me when I don't want gas and I can't say no.
Right.
Like I don't know what his problem is. I am looking forward to finding out what his problem is, and again whether or not he like actual confirmation of whether or not he is a vampire. But I don't know. I don't know. But Daniel's rude. He's rude. It's perfect. You know. They kind of have like a back and forth. Again, we already mentioned this earlier, sort of like, oh, I thought you were from Dubai. You're not from Dubai. But after that short stint in the present, we go back to the past. And again, we kind of already mentioned Claudia aging. We get a sort of another montage of their daily lives. Like she's getting older. She gets her own coffin. And she eventually gets her own room.
Yep.
And I love how
because what teenager would not want their own room?
Right. And what
but still trying to get into the bed with their parent. Let me tell you something. Let me
tell us, son. Tell us.
We have bought so many beds. We have a bunk currently there. We bought a full twin size, a full size. Now she has a bunk bed, and she still tries.
Damn.
To get in there with us. She's 8.
Y'all gotta lock the door.
We do at certain times, but
as you should.
But still, it's
maybe you
it's
get
been
her
a challenge.
Get her a pet.
No, we don't do pets.
Oh, you're gonna have to if you don't want her bothering you at night.
Yeah, we don't do pets.
That might have to be the compromise. You might have to get a bunny or some shit.
But yeah, I did find those parts, very, very true to life. It's no matter how no matter how old your child is, they could be they could be 5, they could be 25.
Yes.
If they have opportunity, they will try to sleep in their bed with you.
Yes, they will. Absolutely. But yeah, no, Claudia's getting older. She's experiencing life. I love the fact that she screamed at Lestat to get the fuck out of her room, like she please, right? Like, and again, Lestat is not him this little girl up. So again, stepdad of the year.
Restraint.
He's dad. He's literally her maker.
I was gonna say not stepdad.
Yeah.
He literally is her father.
That's literally he got primary custody. Shit, that's why.
Right.
But and I also love the scene where he gives her a necklace, But this is sort of like the beginning of the end, right? Where Lestat gives her a necklace. He's like, yeah, it was given to me by a Marquis who was beheaded like 6 weeks later or some shit.
That made me laugh so hard.
I was like,
Because he said
oh.
it so like nonchalantly, and she was like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." It was so funny.
You know, and I also now want to know who the fucking Marquis was, but you
Right.
know, who knows?
It
But
was the cunt.
yeah, probably fucking Frank, Blackjack Randall fucking beheading motherfuckers, but that's another story. But yeah, so she's getting older, time is passing. We see her continuing to describe their domestic, bliss or whatever. Um, let's see. Oh, also we start to. Did you guys notice how do you say it? During Lestat's age.
Yes,
Yes.
another funny moment.
Where Claudia's like, so how old are you? And Lestat is like, Louie's like, he's 106, and Lestat is like, he's 159. And I'm like, who are you running from, Lestat?
But that's such a vain, like a middle-aged vain person's response. You know what I mean?
It's like once my mother turned for 50, she didn't turn any other age. My mother's like 70 something now. She's been 50 for like that.
For
Like
20 years.
she stopped at that age, and that kind of reminded me of this. But also, I was just like, it goes back to that fishing scene where, Claudia's like, I thought we were family and we wouldn't have secrets, and Louis just like, girl, you don't need to know everything. That's how old folks
people
are.
stuff.
Yeah, that's old people stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's like sort of like all these little cracks in this happy world that Claudia shows us. But the Claudia starts to kind of like question her aging, and then Louis gets a call, and we find out his mother has passed.
Yes.
They attend the wake. This is all heartbreaking. His sister basically is like, they want his name off the house. They will buy him out of it if that's what they need to do. And you can see that hurts him.
Yeah, because he took pride. Yeah, he's a family man, and he took pride, in providing for his family, and that was his last tie to humanity, was his family, and that he had. And when we saw last episode, he had that violent outburst with his sister, with his mother, and it affected his sister, and they just see like, hey, this is my brother is not my brother anymore.
Yeah.
He's something else entirely. They may not know that he's a vampire, but this is a religious family, so they obviously think maybe the devil got into him.
And his mother constantly like, the devil in you, boy. I was like, relax, Mom, relax.
But the fact that he showed up with Lestat and Claudia, like the sweet little family that they were, I think was the final, nail in the coffin of that kind of cutting ties with that human side of his.
I just want to mention this because his sister said, "You and your white daddy."
Ooh.
I was just like,
that was some messy.
And I like how his sister, like, even when he was like, "You remember what I did to that door last time," and she didn't back down, like she was still in his face. Like, I loved it. Yeah.
I hate that. Again, it sucks because it's like, Joanne, you just mentioned sort of the crux of the issues, his religious family. Because, like, to me, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter to me if my fucking kid was a vampire, gay, werewolf, came home red. Like, my kid is my kid. Right. It's me and my kid against the world. But not every family can do that, right? Some families are like, no, it's me and the world against my kid. If the kid wasn't gone or found. And that's sort of what this felt like. And in the beginning, I was hoping, like, his sister would be able to transcend that for him, But that would also never get him out the fuck of New Orleans. So, in one story sense, it makes sense. But it's also very sad because it's like we're getting to that part where Louis will have to fucking break ties with his past, even though he could see he doesn't want to. This scene for him is also sort of the beginning of that.
Yeah.
I think this is the end of that. him walking out, the three of them walking out the way they did, I think that was him. You know, he was like, "I'll draw the papers up" or whatever. That was the end of that
You're right.
part of him. You know what I mean? And I mean, yes, you could blame the family for a lot of the way that, you know, their relationship is, but also Louis has a lot to blame in that, you know, in for the things that he has or how he has participated in the relationship with his family. You know, he didn't have to completely disappear and not, you know, he didn't even know that his kid, like last episode, he didn't even know that his sister had like an extra kid or whatever, and like they had to like call him about his mom. You know what I mean? So like I think him disappearing and him kind of like breaking off his ties with his family even way before what the events of last episode, I think that also ties into the fact that like of how they treat him, you know.
I get that, Carly, but like if every time I come to brunch your mom calls you like a devil, how hard am I gonna try to maintain that? And his mother still blames him for like Paul and
but we also see what I do like about these family moments also is that we do see the progression of the age, because like, you know, the little girls, they're with 6 like 8 years old now or something like that, and then Louis still looks like, you know, he's like 25 or whatever, and I think, you know, there was some gray in the sister's hair, but he's the older brother, you know.
But he walks like an old man. Let's he does walk.
That's just a pimp walk.
Is that the pimp walk? Damn it.
Time goes by time goes by so fast on this show. Like they are really burning through a lot of like years and times. Like this episode alone spanned 5 years, you know? Like,
if you didn't notice that,
it's fast.
Yeah, right. I noticed it towards the end with, I mean, I guess that's why Claudia is a good indication of that, right? When they picked her up, her sort of being a child, and that sort of continues on to like, you know, Lestat taking Claudia out, like on teaching her how to drive, and this is where we also learn a new rule where she's like, "I'm a vampire, I can't die," and he's like, "Yeah, you can't die, but you can smash your head and take like 10 months to heal." So again, they can do damage to themselves. So that's good.
And I do like this part of the lore too, that like they actually do get damaged, like, you know, in most, like for example, True Blood, you know, they'll take a bullet and it's like and it's healed like in a second, or, you know, you can like almost halfway decapitate somebody and they'll grow back or whatever. But I do like, hey, they in this show, like, hey, you know, you're immortal, but you can still get fucked up for a few months.
Right. And speaking of the lore,
needed to be said. I think that needed to be said to Claudia.
Yes, absolutely. But speaking of the lore, I had you know, in other things that I've seen, vampire blood heals. I don't know if in this world it does.
Yes, it does actually, because in the first episode. And they only did it at one time, but in the first episode where Lestat bit Louie the first time, he did take a little dab of his blood to heal the neck, to heal the wounds on the neck.
Right, which to me was it made it even more tragic that they turned Claudia into a vampire instead of just healing her. You know what I mean? Because the reason that Louis was like so like, you know, you have to save her, you gotta bite her, you gotta turn. You know what I mean? Was because she was dying.
She was like, she was too far gone, and also like her fucking face was burnt. So I don't think.
Right, and if she would have had some vampire blood, it would have healed her.
I don't know if it was like the situation where she just drank his blood without him biting her, if it would do something to her.
But that's what I'm saying. Like in other things, things that we have seen, that has been the case.
I see what
they
you're
give
saying.
them, you know, their blood. They drink a little bit and then they're healed.
Like on True Blood with the V.
Right, or on Vampire Diaries, I think.
Actually, you know what? Well, Devin always brings up Vampire Diaries, but actually, a good example of that, Carly. I don't know if you watch this, but Let the Right One In.
Still haven't
actually
talking about that.
Yeah, Let the Right One In on Showtime actually does play around with that. There's a particular plot line where a drug is synthesized from the vampirism, which gives you healing ability. So and that's just a mild plot line. It's not a spoiler, but but they do kind of play around with that part of the lore, and I think in an interesting way.
So I'm surprised that they didn't. I mean, obviously, for what Louis wanted and to serve Louis' character, she needed to be turned. But like, I was just kind of like, just heal her and then turn her later. You know, like
Yeah, I
raise
don't
her and
think
then
that would
turn
have
her later.
worked. I think
No.
there was way too many. Like at that point, she was dead. The point is just to like have her fully die and be reborn. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know the 1+1 of it, but I do think she was pretty far gone. But yeah, so Lestat though, like the good daddy he is, takes Claudia out, teaches her how to drive. So this is to rebuff Juwan's point that Lestat is not a good daddy, that he's not in his daughter's life, taking care of her like a good father should. He takes her out, he teaches her how to drive, he takes her out, he's like, and I love this part because earlier in the episode, Claudia brings up, so where does like Lestat go? Where does Daddy Lestat go when he just leaves us? And he's like,
fucking hoes.
Shut up. He's like, Lestat is, a bit extravagant with his kills. So I just let him go do what he needs to do and come back home. And
so you advocate.
I don't like seeing it.
So first of all, you advocating for the daddy for the absentee daddy that just take his child out just one time a year.
2 times a year. He took her to drive. And obviously driving lessons take more than one time, so at least 5 times. 5 times. He took her out. He was concerned about her skirt, her chiffon skirt. So again, cares about what his daughter wears. Okay. Third, he takes her out with him when he goes out to drink because he obviously has common sense and he knows this dumb shit Louie do with fucking eating fishes ain't gonna work for their daughter. So he takes her out. He's like, you can have that on, honey. And I love this scene too, right? Because he just looks at her and he's like, we sheltered you. We sheltered you too much. And yeah, because you let Louis get his way with everything.
Yeah. I don't think that Lestat is a quote unquote absentee dad. I just think
he's not Juwan.
That Louis is kind of tying his hands in a way when it comes to, teaching the ways of the vampire to Claudia. You know what I mean? I think, and because of Louis is that he may feel like an absentee dad.
Yeah, because it's like, again, if your spouse is like basically saying everything you want to teach your child is like wrong, you're just like, you got it then, you handle it. But obviously Lestat still kind of understands the fact that their daughter is less like Louis than Louis himself would care to understand, honestly. But yeah, the scene where he takes her out to like have dinner with him is just, again, like, love the choice of words, extravagant. But this night is also when she basically sees 2 people fucking and she's like, that's different. And it kind of unlocks that part of her brain.
I've discovered pornography.
Yeah, this was basically her first time seeing porn. She was like, is that what my daddies were doing? So,
but I mean, not only is she discovering sex, but she's seeing she's like seeing the woman's shape.
Yes,
you know what I mean, and equating those two, and then realizing, oh wait, I don't look like that.
Yeah,
that was a really big moment for her.
Well, again, and this is where I start to sort of really feel bad for Claudia, because fuck out of here to have the mind of an adult woman, but the body of a child. Right. I would just. Yeah, I understand, Claudia. That's all I want to say. Okay, so, but I just again want to mention that I do really love the scene between Lestat and Claudia. But then we also get a scene where, and I put, Lestat dips his dinner and takes a bite. Because again, he's so fucking dramatic. And this is why Louis don't go out with him to eat. Because he's like, the woman's like, oh my God, there's something behind me. And Lestat is like, yeah, there is. And then he like dips her like it's a fucking Hollywood movie and bites her to death. And I'm just like,
he has flair. And he's so much fun. I love it. Like if I was a vampire, I would be like that.
Look, like Louis
have fun with it.
Moody for me. I cannot. He's a
so
downer.
Moody. Right.
But yeah, this is basically a show and a movie is what Louis, or dinner and a movie is what Lestat does. And Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Happily so. Happily so. Until I can't
Sorry.
Yeah,
take no more. Until he does
yeah.
something where I'm like, okay, maybe.
This toxic white man
What
that
has he
y'all
done
are
that he's
He is
caping.
very
toxic?
toxic.
What has he done
He's
that
very toxic.
he's very toxic? But what has he
He's
done
very well. I think he's very toxic. His relationship with Louie is very
that
toxic. But like, if you think about kind of like, you know, he's lived for 100 and to round it off 160 years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's seen and done a lot of things. Like the way that he parents
it's
Claudia's
indicative of that, yeah.
yeah, is making me think of like maybe how he was brought up. The if you remember
Oh,
episode one, I want
episode
to say
one
when
with
he went
Paul.
when he was yeah when he was at the dinner at Louise's mom's house, and he kind of was talking about, you know,
They
the
locked
cruelty that he experienced as a kid or as a young
him.
guy or whatever. So all of that, you know, the you know, what is
Yeah,
it,
they locked him up in the
hurt
fucking like
people.
up. They
Yeah, and
locked him
he's
away. Yeah, hurt
He probably
yeah,
people.
and
deserved
he's,
it.
you know what I mean,
Yeah,
and he's
shut up.
and he's so
Wow.
it seems like he was kind of born and birthed out of a lot
Yes,
of cruelty
he
in
was
his life.
born in
So
like so like the story starts what like let's say generously 1920. So he was maybe born in like 1800.
Mm-hmm.
Like Louis
no, he was probably no, he was born way before that.
like 1700.
Because let's say the start. Well, right now is like you said the 1820s or the
Well, no, like this
1920
is like
ish.
World War II. So like 19.
World War One.
Well, this is World
It's like
War One. Oh, I thought it was World War
1920,
Two.
21.
Okay.
It's World War One. Yeah.
No, no. My grandfather was in World War II. What the
No, this
hell?
is the 19. It's like 1920. I want to say.
Okay, so that's World War One or two. Like both
Yes.
happened,
This
obviously.
World War One.
Shut
They
One.
up.
mentioned.
Both
One.
happened in the same century. Okay.
It did. Yes.
Thank
It happened like
you.
20 years
Because we don't
apart.
learn.
No, we didn't.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
so
yes.
he's lived, or he was born in the 1700s,
Yes. So
Mm.
like
or he was
Yeah.
created in the 1700s.
yes, and now
Yes.
here he is with a child. Like this man has lived his life this long. Well, I mean that we know. Who knows? Maybe he got 30 other kids we don't know about. That'll be real fucked up. But
Mm.
to us, this is kind of feeling like his first kid, which means he has
Mhm.
gone 2 centuries without birthing no babies out here. But for Louis, he got a baby.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Okay, so after Claudia has this night out with Lestat, she kind of decides to shed her childish ways and embrace the 18, 19-year-old that she is. And she decides to look that part. She puts on like a dress, a fur coat. They let her go out for the night, which I thought was really cute because they were also by the door like,
Mm.
I don't even know. I don't even know what to
Don't do it.
describe.
They were like,
That
don't
was
do
fucking
anything
dangerous.
Lestat would do. Like,
That would have been. That was. I'm surprised. I'm so happy it didn't turn out. You know, like you would have thought. At least for now, because that's fucking dangerous.
Yeah, no. I know as soon as she left, Lestat was like, should we turn on the burner?
Mm.
Should we just keep that warm like now instead of waiting for her to drag somebody home? But I like that they let her go out, right? She's an adult woman. She's going out again, super fucking cute and domestic. And she goes out. She's like Sex in the City. She's flirting with some white man waiter on the street because she looked like she got money. So I guess he's not afraid to do that. But then, like, it's also kind of funny because in her head she's reading minds, and then across the street there's these three bitches who are saying shit out loud that you should be saying in your mind. But that's how rude they are.
I thought they said it in her mind.
No,
Oh wait, but they said it aloud.
Said it
Okay.
out loud.
Yeah, they were
Some
making fun of
mean
her.
girls.
Yeah.
Like you know, and she she was
ready to eat. She was ready to eat them.
Yes.
Mhm.
But
Easy. Yeah.
out of nowhere, a Prince Charming comes along with his white steed and stops her from committing murder on the streets of New Orleans that night. And we find out his name is Charlie. He like takes her home in his horse and carriage. It's very sweet. And she kind of goes through like her first flushes of like child first love.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And It's sweet, and like Charlie's not a creep. I kept expecting Charlie to become a creep.
Why?
Why? This is just like this kid's like what, 16, 17-year-old kid. Like, you know, he's
with me.
He
like,
said he was
no.
18.
Kids
Yeah.
could be assholes at like 10. What is your point?
True.
I did not get any type of creep factor from this nice gentleman,
You
this
act
young
like
gentleman.
people go in knowing creeps are creeps.
I'm just saying, you saw this 18-year-old black boy, and you're assigning him to be a creep, and Carly and I looking at him like, hey, this is nice. This is a nice kid.
I'm assigning her to be a murderer and him to be a potential creep, but he turned out not to be. So yay.
I'm just saying, how could you not? How upon first meeting Charlie that you have creep vibes that you can get a creep vibe from him?
No, not like creeping like he's a bad dude, but just like how is he gonna break her heart, or like what's he gonna do that's gonna take her?
You are jaded.
I am so jaded, and I don't even have 2 husbands yet. It's kind of ridiculous.
you gotta release that hurt. release that from your heart.
Sure, give me Jacob Reese. I will release that shit all over him.
Wait, who's Jacob Reese?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, who did I say?
Jacob Reese.
Who's that?
I don't know who that is. Jacob Anderson. Duh.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who Reese is. Yes. I don't know Reese. Honestly, sounds good. Maybe that'll be our future son's middle name, Jacob Reese.
Okay. Yes.
Maybe that's where I'm going. I like that. Okay.
I want this for you, Mo.
Me too. See, look at that. Woman of color supporting other women of color. Unlike black men on this podcast. So Claudia's going through her first flushes of love. They're going dating. And eventually one night it gets hot and heavy and it looks like they're about to have sex. But like, he is such a fucking gentleman. He's like, can we just keep kissing? And I was like, oh my God, this is so sweet.
I know. He's like, can you wait for me? Let's just kiss a little bit.
And she was like, but so damn, cute. I'm ready.
Yeah, she was ready to go.
And he's like, I just want to hold hands. And it's this was so fucking sad and fucked up because you could see how much that meant to her, you know? And but unfortunately that overwhelms her to the point where I guess she starts biting his neck, sucking his blood, and she just drains him to death. And it's just the fucking saddest thing ever. Like, what did you guys think when you realize, like, that moment when you realize, like, she's not seeing him and we see him as his face like starts being drained of color? Carly, thoughts?
My first thought was like, she's going to be brokenhearted. And then my second thought was like, of course, because he probably smells really good. So not only is she sexually attracted to him, but based on what Lestat said in the previous scene when they were on Lover's Lane hunting, young people full of like lust or whatever taste the best or whatever the case and probably smell really good. So all of those things and she's a baby vampire and couldn't help herself. So I was just kind of like, of course, this is what she does, but she's going to be brokenhearted. And then my third thought was like, oh my God, I'm scared as to what's going to happen once she kind of deals with this situation.
Yeah. What did you think, Juwan, as you sort of saw, her sort of basking in the glow of love while he's dying?
I caught a flashback or something because I saw this coming. Okay. This is a trope. This is a trope of vampire shows where you have the vampire that is like, having sex and having sex with someone and they get too deep into it and then they start and they bite the person they're having sex with. So I saw that as a trope, but I did again thought it was like that tragic, beautiful thing where, she is in the throes of love, like Harley says, and she just could not control herself, in what she was doing. But also but y'all women just go too far sometimes. You know, hey,
we do.
y'all just,
Why gotta be our fault?
y'all just go too far. Sometimes you be too deep into it and you start scratching and choking and shit. I don't.
Word, we be too deep into it. We don't realize. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It just
I've never gotten any complaints before.
Yeah.
All right now.
So, but unfortunately, Charlie dies. Sadly so.
Mm-hmm.
And she takes him home to her dad's. And this right here is consequences. And this is her first experience with it.
Right, because she and of course, and again, Lestat as a bad father did not teach her hey, you can't bring them back from the dead. They have to. You have to at least leave a pint of blood in them. And then maybe I can do something.
Okay, why did Louie teach her? Why is it all on Lestat?
Because Louie's a fucking vegan. He don't know that shit. He don't care about that shit. He ain't gonna tell her about how to do that.
Lestat taught Louie that shit.
Right.
I don't know, but yeah, it was just so sad. It was just so tragic.
Like, he called her an angel. He was like, "You look like a fucking angel."
Oh my god!
I was just like,
I know, especially. Oh my god! I mean, I like when you say consequences. You're right, because it's not only consequences for Claudia, for this, but it's also consequences for Louie for not teaching or for wanting, a kid to be a vampire. For a lot of his decisions when it comes to this whole Claudia thing, probably for not letting Lestat teach her properly. You know what I mean? Right. And then Lestat gets turns into the cruel dad, and like I understood why he was so harsh with her. Yeah, because it's just kind of like, look, this is why we don't get close to humans. Like, this is why. Yeah, you cannot control it, right? And if we would have, I don't know. To me, it was just kind of like, if we would have taught you that before, you probably would have known. But
and also, it's like they've been living in this fucking fairy tale world, right? They're very much in their world, right? Like, they are like. I mean, they're kind of like the ideal. Like, I want to be with someone who likes to be with me and don't want to go outside unless we have to.
Nah, fuck all that. Let me tell you something. We all in little ways, maybe not you, but myself and then Carly, respectively, we had that for the past 2.5, 3 years.
Yes, the pandemic.
Wait, what did we have?
PTSD. Yes, pandemic. Pandemic time. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I would have been divorced after. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I divorced family members after the pandemic. Because it was like, we need space. So I get it. But in this context, Louie, Lestat, and Claudia, these three motherfuckers stay their ass home. And again, Lestat really becomes a family man 80% out of the time.
But he's not naturally kind of like inclined to be that type of person. He's really doing it for Louie.
If I was Lestat, I would have been left their asses. I'm just saying.
Yes. But like we and you always say, he loves Louie, and he's doing this for him.
So he's gonna come home eventually. And the fact that, like, last week's episode, he literally was like, "Look, all this other stuff, bullshit. Me, you, Endgame."
Yeah. I think Lestat loves that. I think what Lestat loves is love. I think he loves the idea of love. And he can
have that with anyone, but he chooses to have it with Louie.
But that's toxic, though.
Yeah, because Louie makes a lot of dumb decisions. Like,
I feel like if you love a person, you're gonna be selfless for that person. You're not gonna try to.
Realistic. You can't be.
Not unless you're. Yeah, I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah, humans.
Or I think that there's a lot of different types of love that you can,
And I don't want someone to be selfless for me, because then it kind of feels like it's a tit for tat.
It depends. I think you give up. You give. I think it's important. Or I wouldn't say important. I think that it's necessary sometimes to give up a little part of yourself that maybe you a bad part of yourself, I should say, to be with a person. Like, maybe like what could it be, like smoking or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or like to be like, you know what, this is not really healthy for me at all, and I want, and this person is like being, you know, me smoking, I'm gonna give up that part of myself to be with this person.
of course.
Maybe with Lestat, I'm gonna give up murdering, you know, people on Lover's Lane. Maybe I will try to murder criminals.
Yeah.
You know,
but the thing is that, like, if you remember what he said, no, but if you remember what Lestat said when Louie, a couple of episodes ago, when Louie said like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to kill people or whatever, he said, oh man, like he said something like, oh, it's like a fish that doesn't swim or a bird that doesn't fly, whatever. To Lestat is not necessarily something that he's choosing to do. It's just this is who he is. This is who we are because we are vampires. This is what we
like,
do.
You will.
It's not like something that I could just like not do it.
Wow, my friend smells really good, and like you will. Like I think it's an inevitability, right? It doesn't matter if it's year 1, year 50, year 150. You will eventually have some. Like he almost ate the fucking baby.
I just, you know, what I wonder is, what is it that's in Lestat that makes him, like, is it age or what is it within Lestat that makes him be so kind of callous towards humanity and just seeing these as food, and Louie is like one to not, you know, kill people all the time, or
I think it's
or be more.
we haven't seen, and that's probably his master. I think your master makes a difference.
I agree, but I also think that if let's talk about what we already know about Lestat pre him being a vampire, and it sounded to be really, really cruel. So what I'm taking from him and the little bits and pieces that we know about him, even the way he doesn't like to talk about his past, seems like there was a lot of cruelty and abuse in his past in general, probably
and he's been alone
before he became a vampire and then after he became a vampire.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean? So that
with Louis, he kind of admitted he'd been alone for a long time. Right. And Louis was the first person he was like, I mean, he was a human, but Louis was also the first person who was like, I want to be with this guy for like ever.
I feel like and I don't, again, I haven't read the book and I only have the context of the original movie, but I feel like with that story about, you know, what Lestat went through when he was younger, or I think he said something about having to be locked away or something like that.
Yeah,
like
they locked him away.
Like he wanted
to be a priest
and blah blah blah. And
I feel like he was a murderer. I feel like he was a murderer. I feel like already prior. We don't have prior to being a vampire. I feel like he was a murderer.
I feel like Lestat was a murderer, other than you.
It's just that his level of cruelty towards people, you know.
But how do you assume that didn't come about after?
Right, like you can, like, people become like the abused people become abusers. Not all, but many. You know what I mean? Like hurt people. That's a saying for a reason. And just based on what we know up until episode 4, I get the vibe that he's just like, he has had a lot of hurt and pain in his life, probably at the hands of humans, and maybe at the hands of vampires. We don't know. We're gonna find out. We may find out later.
Like, what would be the opposite for Lestat? Like, what would a caring Lestat be? What Louis doing? Like, what makes what Louis doing fucking right?
Well, I'm not saying it's right. It's definitely not right. You know, he's out here destroying ecosystems. I think that there could be some type of a realistic middle ground that they could both come to.
I'm genuinely asking you, like,
is it what
Louis is doing now in Dubai? Because
it could have been. Well, yes, but that's in the future. But I would say killing criminals,
but
maybe going
families. Criminals,
yeah, that's true too. I get
it's hard. There's no good, and that's why for me, I don't really see it as good or bad, because it's all fucked up. Yeah. There's some folks who think flowers have feelings, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I will defer to y'all, because
don't defer. We don't have the answer. I mean, we're right always, but we don't have the answer. I think that's sort of the point.
When it comes down to Lestat, though, like, I do think that he is a little hypocritical when it, especially when he's talking to Claudia about, like, this is why we don't, get attached to humans or whatever, because
I'm like,
he kind of broke that rule.
Humans, Dad. That's
right, he broke that rule.
Here.
Right, we're literally in this situation because you broke that rule.
Yeah. That's so true. It's full of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like the complexities. I like that that is not black and white. You know what I mean? I like the gray area because that's the way that people are. You know what I mean? And yes, they are vampires, but they were people and they still have feelings and they still have emotions and they're still impulsive and, you know what I mean? And they still have these dynamics that they have to work through or work past or all this stuff. So I like that we're getting to see all of these different levels to these people.
Me
You know,
too. Me too. It's so
to these
well
monsters.
done. It's so well done. Even the scene where like I kind of remember before she killed Charlie, and she like a little giggling schoolgirl. She runs to her window like, "Look up, look up!" You know, he throws
Mm-hmm.
flowers down at her or whatever, and you know she's so giddy and like fucking Louise reading her mind like, "Who's Charlie?" And she's like, "Get
Mm-hmm.
out of my head." He's like, "You blocking me?"
You blocking me?
I'm being so nosy, Louis. But
Right. Oh, get out of my head, Dad.
right. But yeah,
Yeah.
Lestat's way of things are they are overly cruel. They can be seen as like the overly strict parent, but also like,
Yeah.
girl, look at the fucking charred body of this man you said you loved and who said like he doesn't even need to know the side story, but you came home crying for me to like
Yeah.
turn this man that you killed. Like you
Yeah.
need to see the consequences of your action. Could there have been a nicer way he could have done it? Absolutely.
Yes.
Did he? No.
No, he did not.
No, he did not. But the lesson
He did it in the cruelest way possible.
Yes, but the lesson is still there. But unfortunately, not good. And we're supposed to sort of see that this is gonna lead Claudia down like a spiral after he kind of tells her to clean up after herself. And we hear fighting where Lestat is like, Louis like, she was brokenhearted and blah blah blah. And Lestat is like, well, and they're fighting. Like the facade of domestic it's broken. She is in her coffin, blood everywhere. Her parents are out there like fighting over her dumb shit, and she's just like insanely laughing. And it's
because she's lost it at that point.
Yeah,
you know, and the anger. I love the voiceover. Because she's like taking it out on her diary, like the $3 bow-filled blah 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 diary, like you know, and you can tell that anger. And if you remember the beginning of the episode, she was so like youthful and jovial, and everything was happy. And
like, hi, Diary, I'm so happy to meet you.
Right,
like,
exactly.
damn, bitch. Okay.
And then you're just kind of like, all that kind of like all that fire, all that vitriol, like she's just kind of letting it out. Because she's brokenhearted. Like your first heartbreak always hurts the most.
Oh yeah,
it seems like, especially when you're at that age where everything is so heightened. You know what I mean? Vampire or not. So that kind of intensity, that intense heartbreak, and then you add on top of that the whole vampire business, and then you add on top of that the guilt that you were the one that caused the death of the person that you love. Like that's
the
a lot
levels.
for
so many
levels.
levels, so many levels.
Yeah.
And that's the stupid ass horse that was in the background. He's like, I was like, okay, I get it. Fucking relax. She's a vampire horse. That's neither here nor there, but popped up. But yeah, no, it's all sad. It's all terrible. It's all sad. And then we switch to the modern times, and Louie and Daniel, Louie and Daniel interact. I do love how like Louis is just in the corner, like stylishly standing there, like a catalog with his all black outfit, and Daniel's like, "Oh, you're here." But it's just him talking about like how deeply his love for Claudia was. But I also love Daniel being like, yeah, you had a kid, like a band-aid for a shitty marriage. Like Daniel was just rude.
But he also is not wrong.
Yeah, I love how Daniel just like gives no fucks about talking shit to Louie.
None. And I still don't get it. I like also like want to know what's in it for Daniel, because it's like,
well, I would imagine millions of dollars.
Right, like he's a what is it? He's a journalist talking to a real life vampire.
But
like
he's gonna
that's
die eventually, and like this vampire could also kill him.
Right. So
again,
he's
like,
taking a chance.
Yeah, like the whole playing with your food thing still comes to mind with Daniel and Louis, because I don't believe Louis for shit. But But
And also
yeah.
remember they have history, like whatever happened in the 70s in San Francisco, like did not end well. And clearly Daniel's still really in his feelings about that.
So in his feelings. Like
Mm-hmm.
these two motherfuckers are in all everybody in the show in their feelings. Again,
Yeah.
I hope I don't know if this is true, but I don't know if this will happen, but I really, really hope I get to see like Lestat in modern day. I think I've said that every episode, but I genuinely want to see like Lestat like be like, hey, Louie. That will
That's
be
mildly interesting.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope it's mildly interesting. I hope so. But that's all my notes. That's all I got. What do you guys have that I might have not touched upon? Floor is all
Well,
yours.
Was there a part where Claudia threw a tantrum? Was there?
The entire episode? Like, what do you mean?
No, Carly knows what I'm talking about, but there was a particular. Did she throw a tantrum that ended this episode?
She did it. She the way the episode ends, she opens the skylight and she
Okay,
goes and harms herself. Yeah.
that's what I was trying. Okay,
Oh, my bad.
I
My brain
okay.
did what I did.
I got scared for her immediately in
Mm-hmm.
that moment because again, the original movie. Because knowing the original movie, what happens in the original movie with to Claudia. So I immediately got scared when she did that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the show just leaving us like that. I was like, oh, I was like, I can't. I gotta see how this ends.
Yeah.
I gotta see how this ends, even though I was scared.
No, it definitely felt like, now that I think of it, like she was gonna kill herself. And again, like, terrible. Like, if you ever in real life have this problem, please call the National Suicide Hotline. But like, you could see how everything has led to this moment where she's just like about to let the sun burn her.
Mm-hmm.
And also Claudia is another character I would love to see modern day. But yeah, this.
Yes.
Ooh, what did you think about the scene, Carly?
No, I mean it sounds weird to say that I love the scene, but what I loved about the scene was the turnaround from the beginning, from Claudia in the beginning of the episode, and her being a baby vampire to experiencing what she did, and going as far as, unfortunately, I thought she was also going to end her life, and she ended up just kind of harming herself, which isn't great either. But that, that kind of like intense feelings that you have when you're a teenager, where everything is literally life or death, it feels like. I think that they captured really well in all the episode, but especially in those like final moments. It's very dark and very like gothic, vampire or whatever. But
That's why I really
don't
be
know.
feeling for teenagers even till today. Like, I'm an adult, but I still remember how fucking incapable you feel as a teenager.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a terrible period of life.
It really is a lot. It's a period of life where there's also like so much change, and there's so much that you don't know what's happening with yourself, what's happening in the world that you're like learning, and it's a lot, and it's really intense in general. Like the world feels really intense because everything inside of you feels intense, and I think they captured that really well.
Yes.
The whole thing with her, like, well, I think she ends the episode where like pretty much the sentiment is just kind of like, well, now I'm gonna have fun, kind of like, well, this phase of my life is over and I'm gonna go like fuck it, like pretty much fuck it, I'm not gonna give a fuck. And now that's what made me like low-key really excited and also like really scared for what she's about to do. And like, if she's gonna go full Lestat and just like,
I feel like she's gonna go beyond Lestat, and I feel like that's
right, you know what I mean?
Scary is like where, because you could definitely see like she was their salvation in the beginning, and by the end of it, this is not gonna end well.
No, she could be a liability. Yeah, of course.
Yes, definitely. I could see her becoming a liability. But I'm excited for you, Moji, because you're deciding to experience this as if it was brand new week to week, and seeing how this story unfolds. And I do while I was surprised they brought her in so early, Claudia definitely was an injection, a booster shot in a show that didn't really need any boosting. But it's kind of, but it was definitely definitely a pleasant surprise for me.
Yes.
Yeah. With how fast it's going, it was still surprising to you how early she came
It
on?
was, yes, it was. I thought that she was a season 2, that she would have been the season 2 thing.
I'm
I
glad
was
she
I was
wasn't.
expecting it just to see season 1 be about Louie and Lestat, and season 2 be about Claudia,
Yeah.
and then season 3 being what happens after that,
Gotcha. Well,
based on the movie structure.
okay. Well, I'm really glad they brought her in because I feel like I love Louie and Lestat, but I don't know if I could take an entire season of them just bickering.
The way it was going, the pacing of the first 3 episodes, like at the end of episode 2 and the beginning of 3, I was like, when is Claudia coming? It just felt like it was time for her to get there. You know what I mean?
And now she's
So, but
here,
but
y'all.
because the pace was going really fast.
Okay.
But I don't know. We'll see how long she stays if she does.
But I love our little happy family, guys. I really do. I really, really do. I'm gonna love them. Like, what's that video? That's my man. I'm gonna stand by him. That's really how I feel with him. I'm gonna be
About
stand by
Lestat?
him till the wheels fall off. Even Louie. Louie's very problematic, but I love Louie. I get Louie. I get both of them. I'm a jaded individual, but I'm also fucking Louie. I get it. Like I want to be that person who does the good thing and is the good person, but then like life has kicked my ass so much, like Lestat, where I'm just like, well, y'all got it.
Right.
So it's like I get both sides, and that's why I guess that's why it's like ultimately like I don't want them to lose each other, because I don't really think like these are real people, because I don't really think, because it's like they're still better together than separate. I don't think there's a rule out there that says toxic people don't get to fall in love. Like,
oh my God,
because everybody's fucking toxic one way or the other.
All right, Blueface.
Look, I'm about to take over Kevin Samuel's space out here, okay?
Oh, Lord.
Let me tell y'all black men how to
Don't
live
come
y'all
from,
lives.
don't come for my job. Don't come for my other job.
I mean Devin's job. No, I'm good. I'm good. But yeah, no, that's the entire episode. And this episode was actually directed by Keith Powell, a black man. Great job. I love this. I'm gonna go check out some of his other work because he has a lot out there.
He's been doing a fucking phenomenal job on this show.
Yes, and I love it. I love it.
And it was written by Eleanor Burgess. So
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, just fantastic. Costuming, cinematography, like all of that wasn't mentioned, but obviously a factor. Like
I think this show should get nominated for at the very least costuming, cinematography.
I agree.
And acting.
Yes.
And
acting.
Absolutely.
Look, I am enjoying a historical drama again. I'm looking at you, fucking Outlander, season 5 or 6. I don't remember what. Like last season was just no. But no, I'm loving this show. I'm loving the writing, the costuming, and everything. It's making me feel, and I love that. Because like Jawan said, I'm jaded. I need to let my heart out, y'all.
You let it go.
Yeah, let it go. That's frozen. Okay. Anyway, that's it. That's everything I got. I got this podcast has already gone too long. I gotta listen and throw the shit out by the weekend. But that's all I got. But before I wrap up, again, those of you out there listening, if you enjoy the show, have you left the 5-star review? If you have not, stop listening. You don't get to listen anymore. That's not how this works. I need a 5-star review. But no, I am excited to review the show. Check out some of the other shows on the podcast feed. The Serpent Queen is there. I've got a couple of BL dramas out there. I have a Patreon review of The Woman King coming up if I ever finish editing it, because like I have no memory on my laptop, which makes editing videos that are 35 minutes long not fun. But that should be coming soon. But yeah, it's a ton of other shows on the podcast feed. I'm not gonna like bore you out with it. Just look through, scroll through. But what I do want to do before I log off or before we end the show is tell you guys to go check out my two co-stars today, their podcast, where they also have a bunch of great shit you can listen to. And I'm gonna start off with Carly. Tell them where they can find you and your podcast.
You can find me on Instagram at Talking Shondaland and at That Pop This Life. Those are my two shows. Talking Shondaland, we have the finale, the mid-season finale episode that drops this week. So you can go listen to that if you'd like. And That Pop This Life, which is our pop culture interview podcast, is coming back in a couple of weeks. We are recording a few beforehand. So follow us on Instagram and you'll know everything.
Nice. Okay. And Joanne, tell the good folks out there where they can find you.
Well, you can find my podcast that I host with my co-hosts Devin and Jamel called Edit That Out. Again, it's Edit That Out. You can search for that on all the podcasting channels. Formerly, we podcasted on the Carly's network, Core Tip Arts, which I believe she still holds an archive of some of those old shows.
Yes,
so if you can go back. So you can go back and listen to us and our shenanigans there, but we
check out
we are now
problematic recording.
Check out we were real problematic back in those in those days.
Yeah, who wasn't?
You would never have grown. Yeah, well, yeah, who wasn't? Right. That's why sometimes
like the baby vampire,
like my back catalog.
We were the baby vampires.
That's why sometimes listeners like my early back catalog will just like disappear because I'll listen to something like prior to 2020. I'll be like, whoo, let's just unpost this for a minute.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, continue, Joanne.
But you can follow my show on Twitter at Edit That Out One and on Instagram at ETO Pod. And again, it's called Edit It Out. And you can find it on all the podcasting channels.
Okay. And you guys can check me out. Well, first and foremost, support me via Patreon for as little as $1. I'm going to take off that $1 soon. It's going to be like minimum $2. So get in while you can because I am worth it. Because again, it comes with exclusive podcast episodes and video recaps and all that good shit. But other than that, find me on Twitter while Twitter exists. TV Movie Mistress across all the social platforms, but my personal Twitter, where you can see me just, post Raleigh cute shit or problematic shit, depends on the hour of the day. Book Dreamers 01. But that's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you have, make sure to send in your thoughts, feedback. Are you a Lestat apologist? Are you a Louie apologist? Are you a Claudia apologist? Let us know. I want to know.
Or if you're a vegan vampire.
Oh, God. Well, sure. Send me your feedback if you're a vegan vampire, and I'll make fun of you. So do that. But yes, that's it, guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll do this again soon. Bye.
Peace.